welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. Today we have a special guest coming to help us look at my irrigation system and to talk about irrigation systems. Irrigation systems are really important when it comes to watering your landscape, obviously. If you don't know how much water is coming out of the system, why areas are not getting coverage, if you don't really look at your system, then you will end up having issues. So today we're going to go through and talk a little bit about how to look at your system to make sure you're getting the water that you need and maybe troubleshoot a few problems. So Alex Grover from GrowHow will be showing up here pretty soon, and it'll be fun to talk with him. Okay, Alex, today we're here with my irrigation box, and what I'm going to show you is how much time I'm running the front yard. Now you saw the color of the grass, and so let's show you what we're doing on that. And they're spray heads, they're not rotors.
Spray heads, okay.
Okay, so this is my Hunter control box. If I could see. Okay, I have 6 zones, 2 of them are drip. The drip runs an hour at a time. So I run the front yard, we start in the front yard at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then it ends with my hill, which runs an hour, and I don't even know what time it ends.
And that's on drip on the hill.
That's on drip, yeah. So that's going probably till I think 8 o'clock in the morning. But I don't mind it going after the sun comes up because it's all shaded and it's drip.
Yeah.
So we've got it started at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's see. Run times. Oh, wow. No wonder it's so wet up there.
I was wondering.
Okay, see, this is good. This is really good for me. We have got to learn to look at our irrigation system. What had happened is I had some really dry areas because I had some broken heads. And I had turned the time up, which I was going to leave it up for a week and then turn it back down. I did not turn it back down. Oh my word. Thank you for this. Yeah, so let's turn this down to the 25 minutes I like to run it for.
Now I want to point out that Malie is an expert.
Yes, and I forgot.
And it is easy as an expert to get in your comfort zone, think that you've got everything together, and so really when we start doing something, that's why I wanted to come here to the clock, is because this is where the problems start. Now,
thank you, Alex, because I didn't even remember to do that.
Me personally, I don't like running sprays for 25 minutes because typically you do get a lot of runoff. Now that's going to depend on soil. My current soil, I don't have anything run off because it's really porous. If you have a lot of clay, you're going to run it for 25 minutes, and at least 10 to 15 minutes is just going to be mostly runoff. Now, I'm trusting that Malie knows her soil better than I know her soil.
I have looked for runoff. We don't get, but I'm sure I was running off at 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So typically, don't start out at 25. Only go higher than 15, maybe 20.
Yeah.
Unless you're actually out there looking at your water. My neighbors, they always have a puddle in their driveway because they've got so much runoff.
Yeah. See, mine goes off at 3 in the morning, so I need to come down here and look more often.
And also getting up in the morning. If you're getting up at 6, you're still going to see the wet parts of your sidewalk. You're still going to see some puddles, usually in the gutter.
Yes.
So those are things to check, because those are areas that really get a lot of people is not checking. Now, I don't necessarily consider myself a sprinkler expert. I just happen to know a lot, and I have noticed over the years that people will go in, get a house built, and 20 years later their clock is set at establishment for the turf.
Yes.
And so knowing what we get is really vital. You need to spend some time down with your clock multiple times a season, because first of all, you don't need as much water in the spring and the fall.
Right.
And second of all, things happen even if you don't touch your clock. There are glitches that happen in that. I still haven't figured them out because I'm not a computer guy.
It's actually when the battery runs out, or if you're on electricity, if you have a surge, and we would get that
Yeah.
with my clients all the time. We'd get it, either the electricity would turn off and on, and it would reset their clock. So they're like, you came out, 2 months ago and set everything, and now it's going off at weird times of day, and it's just, it's reset back to the factory settings.
Yeah, and so you need to check that. And my dad had one. His was coming on in the middle of the day. He didn't set it in the middle of the day. Surge, somebody messing with the controller. I don't know if you got young kids, like I was. They're probably messing with it.
Okay, so here we are in my front yard. We've got my irrigation going. As you can see, we've got spray heads. Rotors where there should be spray heads. For this purpose, this yard is going to be torn out hopefully next year, and there will be no grass in it because I'm just sick of my irrigation system. But let me show you a few areas where when I come out each spring, I have to evaluate so that I can get full coverage. Number one is this tree. I have to pull the skirts out of it so that the sprinklers can get the other side. One area that I always have a dry spot until I cut the skirts off is this area right through here. This area will go completely brown because it just doesn't get hit. One area I had an issue with this spring was this whole front area turned brown. When I came out to look at my irrigation heads, at initial glance, everything was working really well. Everything was turning. I couldn't figure, there was nothing blocking the sprinkler heads. I couldn't figure out what was going on. But I watched it for more than 2 cycles. On the 3rd cycle, this head that's going to spray us right here, that head over there, that is still going to spray us, this head over here stopped turning after 3 turns. And this head right here stopped turning after 3 turns. So they were broken. And that gave me a brown spot in that area. So you need to watch, for quite a while. Don't just give it a cursory glance if you think it's not irrigation that's causing the problem. As you can see, this spray head is blocked by that plant. Always look for plants that are blocking your spray heads. This area up here stays green because it is getting coverage 3 ways from other sprinklers. So anyway, when you're looking at your irrigation system, take quite a while to look at it and look at every aspect. Look at the plants, look at the spray heads to make sure they're actually functioning correctly. Don't get sprayed, I don't like to get wet. Look for things like this irrigation head right here. This is actually a new problem. So this is a head that's starting to fail. And you can see how the grass is splayed out. I started noticing this about 2 weeks ago. So we'll see. We've got to replace that head also. So that's a little bit about what to look for with your irrigation in the landscape. So yeah, here we got my filter.
This comes in from the city. Now, it's got some cobweb spiders here. I am checking for black widows.
Which there are in there.
Yeah, the cobweb spiders seem to be dominant. Regardless. Okay, first of all, I'm going to turn this big valve off.
See, I can't do this myself. It's just, it is too, if I get a tool, I can do it, but I cannot do it myself.
There's probably gunk in that pipe.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be happening.
This is
that
Pleasant
way.
Grove City. Here, let me go get the tool. Okay, so we've got our tools here.
Let's do that. Yeah, I really think there's gunk in here.
Yeah, this is Pleasant Grove City, and they filter, as I said in one other video, they filter their water for fish, and that's about it.
And I don't generally get them that stiff. And we're going to go ahead.
You can bleed it if you want with that top.
Yeah, let's live dangerously. Ooh, boy, that's got a lot of play in it. Yeah, the actual pipe this is attached to is turning down there. And we're going to come down here, and I'm going to go to the main city turnoff.
Yeah, and as I said, this is for the secondary water.
Now,
that should help.
Again, all this pipe work is just, the threads are just going wonk, wonk, wonk everywhere along here.
Yeah, this was, well, this was this part of the system was put in, I think, in 2009 when Pleasant Grove City changed over.
So it was a Pleasant Grove City contractor?
Yes. Now this box, I'm trying to remember who put this in, and I think it was a group of kids came through and just put it in. I thought I could change it out, but it's worked since. So.
Yeah, until you have to get something stuck. And so now with 2 valves off, hopefully I'll be able. There, yeah.
No wonder
that removed the pressure.
I'll have to remember that next spring, but I've got to turn off the city water first.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Pleasant Grove City has been having severe issues with sediment this year. I have not had it for some reason on my property, but people just a few blocks away have to clean out their...
So what we're seeing right here is this is the downhill side of the system, and so everything is draining through to here. Okay, folks, I'm gonna claim it was 50 minutes later. Molly may correct me on that. Oh my goodness, this was clean this spring.
Yep, and this, I never have this amount of sediment, so this is city issues.
Yeah, and this is actually going to take a very mild brush and a little bit of detergent to clear out.
Yeah, I have a brush up on the steps if you want. Can I just soap? Really, as dirty as this is, we need a brush. It's bad.
And
it's not as bad as some of them I've seen.
Yeah.
Some of them actually started restricting water flow through it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't checked your filter, get out there and check your filter if you're on secondary system.
See that grunge right there that's built up there? Now, I'm also going to point out that there's particulates on the inside where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
But we've also got a lot of grunge on the outside. This is going to need a good scrubbing down. Get some dish soap, a toothbrush, or even a lighter brush. Remember, you're not gonna scrape this really harshly.
Yeah, you don't want to open up bigger holes.
We don't want to do damage to it. This is your first line of defense. But this one's in pretty grungy shape. Mine looked actually better than this when I pulled it out this spring, and I thought it was pretty.
This one actually looked better than this. I was wondering how this would look because I normally don't have problems. But Pleasant Grove City has, like I said, has been having serious issues with their tanks this year.
Yeah.
To the point where I think they're actually thinking about changing out the filter system.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any fish in here.
Did they get all the fish this time? No crawdads?
No fish in it. No fish.
No fish, no crawdads. Okay, good.
You had crawdads? No. Just checking. Okay, and that is going to be a separate video because it's going to take me 5 minutes to clean that out. And we have got a huge amount of stuff to do. Now, as I tighten this, I'm not using tools.
Yeah, you don't want to tighten it too much.
I'm using hand pressure. And hand pressure, I can actually get it on tighter than it was. This valve really concerns me with how stiff it is. That just should not be.
Okay, so I'm feeling better. I thought it was just my weak arms that couldn't do it. So unless Alex here has weak arms, it's...
I actually do, but not that weak. I'm also going to note with these plastic ball valves are notoriously cheap.
Yep, so it probably is getting to the point that it needs to be replaced.
Yeah, and then we're going to come back over to here. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a circle there. It's a loop for a lock.
Yes, it is. And the city will lock if you water the wrong days, the wrong times of day 3 times. First offense is $500, second offense is $1,000, and the third, they just turn you off.
So yeah, so you know it's off when you do that because...
You can hear it. Then you watch over here and you look. You know, I didn't show that, but it all tweaked all over the place.
It all shifted, and really the system should not be that loose that it shifts like that.
And it's water pressure too. You've got to watch. So you've got to watch the system for a little while, check for leaks. You know, don't just turn it on and walk away. So we're not seeing any leaks. It's on. So I think we're good to go.
Yep.
Well, thank you for watching this episode of Irrigation with Alex from GrowHow. We have a lot more that we'd like to cover, but those are going to, I think we'll actually do a couple of other episodes. So to recap what we've covered today, when you're checking your irrigation system to see how it's functioning, First, look at your clock. Check your time. See the time of day that it's going off. Go out and watch your irrigation system, if at all possible, at the time of day that it normally goes off, and see if there's city pressure issues. Check your filter and see if your filter is clogged. Look and see if your heads are turning properly. See if you have a sunken head or malfunctioning head like I do in the front. See if they are properly adjusted, and look for plants that are blocking them. So that's one way. Those are some ways that you can check your irrigation system to make sure you're getting the proper amount of water. And if you have any questions, or if you have any comments on irrigation systems, or if you'd like to know more, give me a comment, ask me questions, and look forward to more irrigation episodes with Alex from GrowHow. Until then, have a wonderful garden adventure.